My name is Rivka. In order to make your very best video, planification is your friend. First thing we're going to talk about is body language. Body language makes the difference between a message looking confident and fun or looking just blasé and a bit of a fail. So, here are the things to pay attention to make sure that your body language tells the story you want to tell. First, smile. If you're excited about what you're saying, your audience is more excited to hear it. The next thing is body movements and posture. You want a tall, confident posture, and you want your body movements to help convey what you're talking about. Next up, eye contact. You want to look directly at the camera to share your message with your audience. And lastly, your voice. Your voice says a lot about your message. If you're too loud, it gets to be a bit much. But if you're that perfect tone that shows confidence, it really brings your message to your audience and helps them understand what you're saying, as well as stay engaged with your message. When you're engaged, they're engaged. Here are the things you want to focus on to make sure that your audio sounds as good as it possibly can. Number one, you want to find yourself an environment that is as quiet as possible. No interruptions, no loud machinery, no music. You want to record yourself either with headphones or with an external microphone like this. That way, your message is conveyed as clearly as possible. Emphasize your words, make sure they're clear, and make sure you're speaking with confidence. You want to make sure that you do not film outside. You always want to be in a controlled environment where you can always know exactly what your audio is going to sound like. Make sure that you don't hold your camera super close to your face. Yes, this does mean that you're speaking closer to the camera's internal microphone, but in exchange, you're sacrificing the video. Lighting is a crucial part of exposing your subject and offering a bright and fresh face to your audience. There's two ways you can light. You can use natural light from outside, either by standing near a window, or you can use artificial light created by an LED ring light or even a lamp if you know how to position them correctly. Here's two ways to achieve excellent lighting. One, position yourself near a window during the day. The natural sunlight will filter in, it will soften your features, and it will make you look much better. Secondly, use a ring light to light up your face and highlight your features. This is how I look without a ring light. Washed out, it's hard to see my face, and every angle looks just a little bit wrong. And this is how I look with a ring light. I look bright, I look fresh, I look excited, every angle to perfection. Here's what not to do. Do not look into the sun. You might get a little bit burnt out from the light because it's too much, and your eyes are going to hurt a lot. The next thing you want to avoid are locations with really low lighting or too much backlighting. Low lighting will make you look washed out and dull, and backlighting will mean that the entire background around you is bright and beautiful and you are stuck, a shadow in the foreground, barely able to be seen. Lastly, you want to avoid having boards, windows, or mirrors in your shot unless you've arranged them specifically, since they will reflect light and could make you look a little funny. Positioning is also important. You want to make sure that you look natural and you look primed to connect with the people you're talking to. Here's how to position yourself perfectly. First, frame your shot by positioning yourself in the middle of the camera, and then talk directly to the camera. It's recommended you do a medium close-up rather than a long frame. Make sure that your shot is still and balanced correctly. The best way to achieve this is with a phone tripod that just holds your phone for you, and all you have to do is speak into camera. Here's what to avoid. Don't be too close to the camera. This can both be overwhelming to your audience as well as uncomfortable. No one needs to know what your nose looks like detail for detail. Don't move around with the camera. When you're moving around too much, your background becomes distracting and the camera tends to shake. Find a place that you can park yourself and deliver your message. Now that we've settled how to take your video from average to stunning, here is the next important step. Your background and environment. Where do I film? Now, where you choose to film should be something that's natural to you and speaks to your message. For instance, if you're an artist, film in a gallery. If you're a real estate agent, film in a beautifully staged home. The key is to find a background that is as attractive as possible with lots of depth, like the one behind me. However, I'm aware that not everyone has access. Most people are filming at home. That's where green screen comes in handy. With green screen, I could be anywhere. I could be in Disney World. I could be in New York. I could be in the middle of a bakery in Paris. Do you smell those baguettes? Neither do I. It's green screen. Here's how to make the most of your green screen. Number 1, make sure your green screen is lit properly. Secondly, make sure that your green screen is positioned either against a wall or on a stand to prevent it from rippling or, even worse, falling down. Lastly, make sure you're in the center of your green screen and surrounded by your green screen, so adding in a background later is seamless. Wonder how well green screen works for you when you follow all of these tips? Well, it's pretty easy to see. For instance, I've switched rooms, but you had no way of knowing because I'm now sitting in front of a green screen. Ta-da! Now, if you want to use a natural background and not a green screen, here's a few tips for your success. Number 1, find a background with depth. Secondly, you want to get a background that isn't too busy. You don't want cars and people passing the entire time you're speaking. It can be very distracting. Lastly, make sure you don't have a background that stands out more than you do. The last thing you want is you and your message getting lost in the noise. Now, here's a few things you want to make sure you avoid. Do not pick a background with too much light. If it's too bright behind you, you become very, very dark. The other thing you want to avoid is white walls. Boring. Don't do it. Lastly, don't pick a place that's a very small and confined space. It's going to show up in your final shot as crowded and cramped, and often the lighting will be very bad. The last thing we're going to discuss is speaking skills. You are the one conveying your message to your audience, so make sure you do it right. Speak directly to your audience. Eye contact and confidence carries the day. Secondly, be straight and to the point, as concise as possible. People's patience comes with a price. Make sure you're spending their patience wisely and getting your point across. Pick keywords that will catch people's attention and help drive your point home. Make sure you articulate. Pronounce everything carefully and concisely. Now that we've gone down a few recommendations, here are a few things to avoid. Make sure not to talk too fast, and make sure not to talk too slow. And lastly, make sure not to ramble. Stay on topic by giving yourself some bullet points to stick through, or better yet, put it up on the BIGVU teleprompter to keep yourself on task. Now that you know how to make stunning videos, it's time to take them to the next level. BIGVU has a ton of features that allow you to boost your videos and make them stand out from the crowd. Stand out by adding captions. Once you've added them in a really seamless process, you can highlight and bold keywords for emphasis. Add background music to your video to give it a specific emotional context or tone. Add your logo or brand to identify to your audience who you are. Lastly, add visuals and images to your video. This helps illustrate to your audience exactly what you're saying and helps them understand better, in addition to making your video more interesting and engaging. With these simple tips, you can make your video stand out from the billions of talking head videos available on the internet. It's just simple ways to make yourself charismatic and be creative.